Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight.
The Frank Smith trial resumes in the magistrate's court.
Today marks the first day of school, and straight ahead, we'll tell you how ready schools are to welcome students back to their halls.
Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News, and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquim. Topping news tonight, results of the 2018 BJC and BGCSE exams are out, and based on the data released, there is a lack of improvement. With the full breakdown, here's Jared Hayes.
And if you put any negative stuff on the news tonight, I ain't giving you all no more interviews.
While Education Minister Jeff Lloyd strayed away from criticizing this year's BGCSE examination results, the data released by the Ministry of Education paints a picture of lack of improvement and, in many cases, decline. Out of 6,720 students who sat BGCSE exams this year, 490 students received at least a C or better in math, English language, and a science subject. That represents a decrease of 5.95% from 2017, when 521 candidates got a C or better in the trio of subjects. Taking a look at the total number of each letter grade awarded, A's and B's account for just under 21% of total grades. The most heavily awarded grade was C at 27.2%, followed by D grades, which were awarded in more than 1 in 5 exams. 14.26% of exams were awarded in E grade, while 8.44% were given F's. Rounding out the grading scale were G's and U's, with those scores being awarded in 4.77% and 2.48% of cases respectively. This year's examination results don't deviate significantly from the past, with girls continuing to outperform boys and less students receiving a minimum of C in at least 5 subjects. Despite the apparent consistency, Education Minister Jeff Lloyd says he saw a slight improvement.
Overall, the results just show a slight improvement in BGCSE results, but schools like CV Bethel have done extremely well, very, very well. In the BJC results, we have seen a major improvement. Very happy about that.
It's a significant change in tone from the Education Minister, who last year slammed the country's national examination performance, stating that over the past 10 years, BGCSE results had shown no improvement and that we started at a D and now we're at a D-. The 2017 exam results reflected 880 students receiving a minimum grade of C in at least 5 subjects. This year, that number has dropped to 806, representing a decrease of 8.41%. As for the gender breakdown, girls continue to outperform their male counterparts. Out of 2,228 total A's achieved, nearly 70% of those, or 1,551, were awarded to girls.
You will see over time the results will improve because of the work we are doing, particularly in literacy at those lower levels. And we've got great and exciting things happening here in education.
The Ministry of Education report notes that several test centres throughout the country received higher grade point averages. However, that same report also notes that there was a decrease in grades awarded between A and C. While Lloyd singled out CV Bethel as a school that experienced great improvement, he says some government schools, in particular those on the Family Islands, tend to outperform their New Providence counterparts.
But I know for a fact CV Bethel is among those that have performed very, very well. You know, places like NGM always going to do fantastically. Places like H.O. Nash in junior high and Central Abaco and Primary always going to do it. They're a very solid school. Eva Hilton, fantastic work that they're doing.
This year's report, as has been the case since 2015, did not feature a grade breakdown for each individual subject. It also failed to include an overall national average. In the past, the results were released at a press conference. However, that wasn't the case this year or last year. And while the results don't reflect any drastic changes, Lloyd suggested that changes will be noticeable further down the road.
Committed to enrolling an additional 1,000 3-year-olds across the system. Some of them will be in the public sector where we have expanded our preschool ability. Some of them will be in the private sector where we have gotten an agreement with several private preschool providers. So, you know, this is what the revolution is about. We are, like any other country, continuing to tweak, continuing to revise, update, modernize, transform. You could find the same thing happen in Norway and Belarus and Finland and Singapore. there's a continuous adjustment going on in your educational apparatus, because the world is changing and moving so quickly that you've got to be nimble and flexible and adaptable in order to embrace the opportunities that are available for our young people.
BJC results, traditionally sat by 9th graders, demonstrated a more clear improvement in overall performance. This year, 1,600 candidates received a grade of C or higher in 5 or more subjects, representing an increase of 7.82% when compared to last year's statistics. Additionally, a total of 1,552 candidates received at least a C in math, English, and a science. Compare that figure to 2017's total of 1,326 students making the mark, which represents a 17.04% increase. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
Well, it was back to school for thousands of kids around the country today, and while parents pulled up to drop their kids off and take those back-to-school pics, some returned to a bit of ongoing construction. Jillian Gray has more.
Students eager to get the school year started brought books, pens, and pencils, but they met dust and cement as school repairs have still not been completed.
Has to be a better way than what is happening now, and it's my understanding that the physical plant and those construction work is really the work of the Ministry of Works. So the Ministry of Works has to get on top of their game. They have to ensure that the contracts are approved earlier, mobilization is given earlier, and that the contractors will be able to get in and out of schools. Right now, as we speak, we have contractors that are tiling. They were tiling T.A. Thompson on Saturday. Carpentry, they're building cabinets on Saturday, and school is opening on Monday. So it has to be a better way to do it.
BUT President Belinda Wilson said major work is ongoing at Walter Parker Primary School in Grand Bahama, which will result in that school being dismissed early. At least 3 other schools in the Family Island and 2 schools here in New Providence still have ongoing renovations. Wilson thanked parents, the school board, and teachers at Eva Hilton Primary for their hard work over the weekend as they made sure that school was safe for students, regardless of the ongoing work. When asked if the repairs will hinder students, the education minister had this to say.
These are primary schools.
Take a look and see. Again, no, ain't no short. You all are short attention span. Those kids are doing very well.
Principal of Eva Hilton, Jermaine Butler, said both staff and parents are excited to get the school year started, and they are working closely with parents to ensure that their over 800 student populace is safe while repairs continue.
We have been operating under these circumstances since April, actually, where we had areas cordoned off and work taking place. So we're ready for it, with the exception of the preschool who were just coming for the first time. But we are ensuring where tighten up needs to be, it will be done. We have the kind of parent who will come and tell us and point out specifically, and those are the things that we're actually looking into. So tomorrow will be even more secure than today is, and today is pretty much secured.
The education minister toured 9 schools in New Providence this morning, and on his stop to CV Bethel, he assured the principal that the packed garbage dumpster would be emptied and the lighting and air conditioning issues in the library would be repaired. Lloyd estimated the cost of school repairs to be in the millions.
$2.5 or so million, don't hold me to that, but it's in the millions, so well north of $2 million this year, and overall we've only had a budget of $9 million, 7 or so million in New Providence, 1.8 throughout the Family Islands, 0.8 in Grand Bahama. Never enough, but listen, I said at the beginning of the summer, we're going to make it work, and you've seen it. Yes, there are a little this and a little that needs still to be completed, but for all intents and purposes, school is ready to go.
Overall, the education minister said he was pleased with the opening of school and added that he's looking forward to a great year. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jillian Gray.
All right, thanks, Jillian. In other news, after a nearly 2-month break, the Frank Smith extortion trial resumed today. Jasmine Brown was in court and tells us more.
The PHA legal advisor was back on the stand today, where she spent more than 2 hours being questioned by the defense. Leading cross-examination for the defense was Jamaican QC Katie Knight. Under questioning by Knight, Isaacs testified that she recognized the name and signature of then PHA Managing Director Herbert Brown on a letter addressed to Acting Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Sherilyn Wallace. Knight pointed out to the court that in the August 11, 2017 letter, Brown told Wallace to seek legal advice from the Attorney General's office over the awarding of the contract to Magic Touch Cleaning Company. During proceedings in July, Knight produced for the court a contract dated October 30, 2017 that showed Hannah's company had been awarded a $1,862,978.16 cleaning contract. Lead attorney for the prosecution, Edward Jenkins, sought to question Isaacs about the letter and associated documents. However, that came to an abrupt halt after Knight told the court the defense had not received the additional documents. Prosecutor Alicia Delancey told the court that the complete document had been delivered to defense attorney Damian Gomez's office and signed for on July 17th. Meantime, the health minister did not take the stand as some had anticipated. Jenkins told the court that Sands would not be taking the stand before Wednesday, as he had to attend cabinet on Tuesday. When the trial last sat on July 15th, the prosecution informed the court that it will be calling the health minister to testify. It came one day after the Attorney General's team handed over to the defense a July 12, 2018 statement from Sands. Prosecutors allege that Hannah, a cleaning company owner, allegedly paid $60,000 in bribes to Smith, who was the former Public Hospitals Authority chairman. Hannah alleged that Smith demanded payments of $5,000 monthly from her for his assistance in getting the $500,000 annual contract. Smith's trial on charges of bribery, extortion, and misconduct in public office continues before Chief Magistrate Joyanne Ferguson Pratt on Tuesday morning. Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Well, more and more moms are preserving their baby bump through the art of casting memoirs. Our Giorgio Bain takes a look.
Hey moms-to-be, this week on Maternity Mondays, we are taking a look into how we can preserve this phenomenal stage of our lives by casting these beautiful tummies. Jolanne Harris from Casting Memoirs walks us through the steps of the casting process.
We start out with plaster strips. We actually have to grease you down first with Vaseline so it could pop off easier. So we just wet the strips and then we apply to various parts of the body. And it takes about like 20 minutes the most to get firm, I guess enough for you to kind of, take it off you and stuff. And it would dry for about a day or so. You can kind of tell by how it's cool to the touch.
There are so many designs and options that you can choose from, and according to Harris, around 6 to 8 months is a good time to catch those blooming bellies at their most bountiful
So for the
peak.
full body is the breast and the belly, and that's for $140. Then you have the option of the half belly cast, which is for $120, and the customize is $100 more, just added, whether it's belly or full.
And customize, what's anything I can think of, or is it?
Yeah, and well, we are working through the templates of what we want to do, but right now we're gonna feel out for what the customers want. So it's generally something like a solid color, probably a name, and then maybe a little bit of detail artwork.
Imagine having this piece of art that you could show your child one day. Whether you decide to get it hand painted or covered with stained glass, it's completely up to you. Harris has even ventured into doing her own art show centered around the joys of pregnancy and giving birth.
And I showcase basically my personal experience with motherhood and just basically a general idea from, different mothers' experience and stuff like that. So it was a few paintings based on, the female reproductive system, kind of the emotions you feel when you find out you're late, like, day of the month wise. And I had these on display. And
check out Casting Memoirs on social media. Reporting for Our News, I'm Giorgio Bain.
Still to come, a 20-year-old charged with murder. Find out why he's to be isolated while in prison. Plus, the Prime Minister greeting Family Island students on their first day of school. Stay tuned.